Hello, in this video, we'll be covering some basics on how to update firmware using the catalog and baseline from OpenManage Enterprise. Let's start by covering some basics here, and then later we'll demonstrate the process. The first requirement is the catalog. By default, OME will attempt to leverage a bi-weekly catalog at downloads.dell.com/catalog. We can use a custom catalog created by a Dell repository manager hosted on a share as well. This supports CIFS, NFS, and HTTP/HTTPS shares. OME only uses Windows packages. It's important to note that this will not function correctly with a Dell repository manager catalog-only export. OpenManage Enterprise needs all the files in the same directory as the catalog. Our second requirement is the baseline. The baseline has two components, the catalog and targets. We can create multiple baselines with the same catalog or same devices. We'll also look at the alternate option of pushing a single DUP file to a single device. I have the instructions here for future reference, but we will demonstrate this later in the video. You should note that this is typically used as a workaround, and usually you will want to push firmware with the baseline. To get started, let's click on Configuration, then Firmware Compliance. From here, you'll need to click on Catalog Management. This first catalog is the default, pointing to Dell.com. You do have the option to edit and change a couple settings. Since I have mine set to manual, you'll notice the last updated section shows April 10th, 2020. Let's click on Check for Update so we have the latest version. Now we see it shows July 10th, 2020, so we know it is up to date. You'll notice we can also use CIFS and HTTP. If you click Edit, you can see the layout. We'll go down to HTTP and show the layout here. Now that we have our catalogs, let's go create a baseline. First, let's click Create Baseline. We'll come up and choose our catalog. I'm going to choose the first one, which is the Dell default. We'll name our baseline and then choose Next. Now we need to select our devices. I'm going to choose and then click OK. Now we click Finish. Now the baseline has been created. We can click on it and click View Report. Here's where all the servers will be. You can expand a server and see which updates are needed. Here we can see that we do need the iDRAC with Lifecycle Controller. So we'll go ahead and check that update. And then we'll click on Update Firmware. I'm going to go ahead and keep the default, which is Update Now, but you can see there are several other options available. To view the update, you can go to the Monitor section and click on Jobs. Here we see the running job. Select it. You can click View Details to get more info. Click on the running status, and now we see the details. Now we'll take a look at the alternate option of pushing a single DUP file. Choose Devices. Now choose the server we're going to update. We'll need to go to the firmware section. We'll click on Update Firmware. Now we'll choose the individual package and we'll browse to that DUP file. I will be using the iDRAC firmware once again for this demonstration. It will take just a few seconds and then it will upload to the OME appliance. Now we are presented with the option. We can check on the iDRAC and we can choose Next. We are given those same options. I'm going to stick with Update Now and click Finish. You are still able to go to the Jobs section and view the current status. It will take several minutes for this to complete, so I'm only going to show you the short snippet of the end. We can see from the Messages section that we began with communication to the device, we were able to create the job, and then the job completed successfully. We checked afterwards that the services were available, and then the job completes. To wrap up, let's go over a few more things. First, we'll talk about firmware update workflow for out-of-band. Step 1. We'll download the updates to the appliance. We can use downloads.dell.com or from a local share. If it fails in this step, then it's either the network or a firewall issue of some kind, or it could be a problem with the specific update in the catalog. Step 2. Mount SMB v2 share to the iDRAC. The iDRAC firmware that's older than 2.52 only supports SMB v1, so we must enable this manually in the application settings of the appliance. This uses ports 137, 138, 139, and 445 for communication. If this fails, you will receive the error red016, unable to mount remote share. Step 3 in the process is copy the firmware update to the iDRAC CMC. If it fails here, it's an issue with either the proxy or the network, or the remote device you are connecting to. Check how many devices are affected. If it's 100% affected in the network, then it's probably the port is being blocked somewhere. Or it could be a VLAN issue, something else in the network. Review the OME job for the error code or check LC log on one of the iDRACs for more info. Lastly, we'll do a brief cover on firmware update troubleshooting workflow. You can start here if we have issues with the firmware updates. Step 1. Check the update log in OpenManage Enterprise. Does it fail on the download or the push of the firmware update? Step 2. If all devices or updates fail, check the network. You can check the proxy config, see if there are any network logs. If a TCP dump is needed from the appliance, we will need to get an SST and we'll need to enable FSD on the appliance. Step 3, if all updates download except for one, we need to check the catalog. You can check the catalog.xml at downloads.dell.com/catalog and see if the update exists in the folder specified. Step 4, check the iDRAC. You can check the lifecycle log for what occurred. You can attempt to update the server manually through the iDRAC. If we're using an offline share, attempt the updates directly to the iDRAC. Thank you for viewing this OpenManage Enterprise training video on firmware updates.